Now, you've come to the right place to find out, especially if this is your first time joining this channel. Honestly, there's one recent event that has left a lot of people asking questions. MetLife Stadium, with a capacity of nearly 80,000 people, was completely sold out. Not a single seat remained. Even the soccer field, normally reserved for sporting events, was transformed into a sea of fans cheering without stopping. On the surface, everything seemed ordinary. Just a two-night concert by a South Korean boy group in New Jersey. Nothing appeared unusual. But behind the excitement of that night, something far greater than a music performance was unfolding. Even today, one of the world's biggest music award institutions remains under scrutiny because of what happened that evening. Welcome to Taekook Talk, the place where every story carries a deeper meaning than the headlines suggest. If you haven't subscribed yet, now is the perfect time to hit that subscribe button, because today's discussion reveals a side of the story that many people have overlooked. Trust me, you'll want to stay until the very end. Now, let's begin. Let's start with something that seemed simple. BTS closed the first night of their sold-out MetLife Stadium concert with a spectacular fireworks display that lit up the New Jersey sky. It was breathtaking, the perfect ending to a stadium-scale concert. But if there was one moment that truly stayed with the nearly 80,000 fans who were there that night, it wasn't the fireworks. It came when BTS performed a song called Aliens, a song about feeling like an outsider, about what it's like to be treated as though you don't belong, about the experience of never being fully accepted. That night, nearly 80,000 people sang every single lyric with extraordinary emotion, as if the song carried a meaning far greater than simply being another piece of music. And that's when everything began to change. Aliens wasn't just an old song brought back to please fans. Suddenly, it became the center of attention. And the reason behind it made many people start asking questions. Just weeks earlier, the Recording Academy, the organization behind the Grammy Awards, officially introduced a new category called Best Asian Pop Music Performance. At first glance, it sounded like progress. A category presented as recognition of Asian artists' contributions to the global music industry. But what happened next surprised everyone. BTS, the biggest Asian pop group in history, made a decision that shocked both fans and industry insiders. They chose to step away. They decided not to submit any of their work for Grammy consideration this year. Think about that for a moment. The very group that many assumed would become the face of this new category simply said, "No, thank you." What made it even more surprising was that the decision wasn't made quietly. It wasn't shared behind closed doors. All 7 BTS members posted the same message at nearly the exact same time. Within minutes, the news shook the music industry. BTS will not submit their work to the Grammys. A decision like that is never simple. It requires 7 people to unanimously agree to walk away from another opportunity to compete for a Grammy trophy. And that raises one important question. Why? Why would a group that has already earned 5 Grammy nominations decline the chance to compete in a category that seemingly existed for them? This is where the story stopped being just about music. Because what was truly at stake turned out to be something much bigger. For years, both critics and fans have argued that the Grammys have followed a certain pattern in how they recognize artists outside the Western mainstream. Too often, categories based on genre or region have been viewed as a subtle way of separating those artists from the main competition. Black artists are frequently associated with rap or R&B categories. Now, Asian artists have been given an Asian pop category. Meanwhile, the most prestigious awards, the ones that define the night, continue to be dominated by the same group of artists. On the surface, the new category looks like inclusion. But the real question is, inclusion into what? A separate room? Or a separate stage away from the main competition? BTS's silence that night spoke louder than the fireworks exploding above MetLife Stadium. And after that, they let the music speak for itself. That's exactly why their performance of Aliens felt so powerful. A song about someone being treated like an outsider. About never truly feeling accepted as part of the group. And they performed it just days after publicly rejecting placement in a separate award category. Was all of that simply a coincidence? Of course. If you believe every coincidence is just a coincidence. Now, pause for a moment. If you're someone who enjoys noticing the small details that most people miss, then you're definitely in the right place. Don't forget to subscribe, because the next part reveals something that even many fans inside the stadium may not have realized that night. Now, let's go back to MetLife Stadium. In the middle of the concert, RM picked up the microphone. At first, it seemed like an ordinary moment, just the group's leader speaking to the fans. But the next few sentences carried a much deeper meaning. RM mentioned one name, Nas, a hip-hop legend who has spent decades being recognized as one of the most influential rappers in history. At the same time, many people believe he never received the level of recognition his contributions truly deserved. RM went on to say that Nas was one of the artists who shaped his teenage years the most. He explained that standing on stage and performing in front of someone who had inspired him for so many years felt absolutely incredible. On the surface, those words sounded simple, sincere, respectful. But was that really all they meant? Or was that actually the most powerful message of the entire night? For years, Nas became known as an artist who had to wait an incredibly long time before receiving the recognition many believed he had always deserved. A story that feels surprisingly familiar. RM never directly compared Nas's journey with BTS. He never criticized anyone. He never delivered a lengthy explanation. Instead, he allowed everyone to draw their own conclusions. From Nas's journey, from BTS's journey. Now it's your turn. Do you think everything that happened that night was merely a coincidence? Or do you believe it was a carefully crafted series of messages delivered with remarkable elegance? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I genuinely love to hear how you interpreted those moments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss our future discussions. I'll see you in the next video.